This podcast contains mature themes, questionable humor, and explicit language. Listen with discretion. Please take care.
Dialogue over drama?
If you can find me an ethical way to eat human, I'll try human.
Really?
Sure.
Even like the Mama Saw Microsoft?
Lordy, look who's episode 40. This is episode 40 of Dialogue Over Drama. I am Dialogue Danny.
And I'm Courtney Drama.
All right.
Oh, that's great. And
All
then
right,
in this
Corella.
episode...
What the fuck? I had...
no, that thingy. You just said Corella. What's the long... Didn't she have the
smoke
cigarette?
sticky, yeah.
On this, I want that
The
for my
straw,
joints.
the smoke... You know what? I roll dubes the size of cigarettes. I should get you one of those.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Oh my god, I could be like Corella DeVille.
Do you want one of those?
I just need like a Dalmatian coat.
I know what I'm getting you for your birthday.
No, if you get me that for my birthday, that'd be a shitty gift. Don't.
Can I get... I'm like...
Don't get me a cigarette extender.
Wow.
Okay.
So in this episode, we get about control and how Courtney's gotten over her need to be controlling.
I have not gotten over. I have not gotten over my control. I am realizing how much control I can let go of. It's same but different.
Yeah,
no,
same but different.
No, seriously. Like this episode's interesting. I unpacked a lot of shit that I'm trying to work through.
Well, that's kind of the new vibe of the new podcast, right? Like just
we're
kind of like
us.
40 on. We're going to do it like 30s. We started off with Courtney's like 30th birthday, and then we kind of went into some fun stuff and got into a relationship, and then we did the Halloween thing, which was really hard to do. It's hard to do 5 episodes of Halloween thing. I'll be completely honest in admitting that.
Not doing that again.
It was crazy. Yeah. So this is kind of our new focus. We're going to kind of just be bluntly honest about our relationship and focus and what we plan to do. But I'm going to tell you a story just in our little intro here. So this family comes into the bar, and it's a mom and a dad and their 2 daughters. Their 2 daughters are like 11 and 9 years old. The mom says to me, we've never been here before. We've been wanting to come down. Like, we really wanted to play some pinball. And I'm like, oh, that's exciting. Welcome. I'm glad you guys came. It was all pleasant. I'm like, what can I get the kids? And they're like, they picked out pops. So I went over, grabbed some soft drinks for them, gave them the soft drinks. And I gave the parents flight cards because they were going to fill out some cards to get some beers. The kids were complaining, saying, oh, I don't even know how to play pinball. Like, this is going to suck. Like, I never learned how to do this. So, like, I don't know how to do it. And the mom says, you don't know if you like it or not. You could be really, really good at it. Like, if you just learn, you don't know. Like, let's just go play and see if you like it. So they're like, being typical kids. So while the parents continue to fill out their cards, I leaned on the bar and I said to the kids, hey, you know what? Your parents are 100% right. 10 years ago, I couldn't play the saxophone. Today, though, I still can't play the saxophone. You know why? Never learned. Kids look at me like I'm the biggest moron they've ever seen in their life. Dad almost has like a heart attack laughing.
That's really funny. And you know what that kind of reminds me of is what we get into in this episode, where I talk about how if something isn't interest-based, I don't want to do it. So when my mom tried to get me to play like double Dutch, hop like skipping rope, guess what? I still don't know how to skip rope. You
are really upset about the rope skipping because we're going to begin the podcast with that and end the podcast with that. Courtney skipping rope.
But I never learned.
So our P.O. box is this. Send Courtney skipping ropes.
I don't think I know how to jump.
It's easy. Did you say you don't know how to jump? What the hell is your problem?
I don't think you don't give me skipping ropes because I don't think I know how to jump.
I don't think I've ever seen you jump.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Have you ever seen me jump? Yeah, you probably have. No, you probably have.
I don't think you and I have ever seen each other. Okay, after this episode, we're going to jump. I want to see both of our feet come off the floor.
I think you have high hopes. Yep. For me, I don't.
Well, do you remember the time when we went on about squatting? And I didn't think you knew how to squat, and you out-squatted me.
Oh, yeah. You were like, yeah, I can squat. I hit the gym. I'm like, yeah, squatting doesn't bother me at all. You're like, no. And then
I was like, I bet you can't even do like 5 squats. You do like fucking 15. Even that, not that. Like, I was like, what?
And I just kept doing them while continuing the conversation, looking at you.
I didn't know, but that's when I learned how strong your legs were.
Oh, fuck. My legs are crazy strong.
They are.
They got this.
Because that was early on into dating. I remember that. I'm going to squat.
That's a weird memory. I totally forgot.
Right?
That totally left my mind until now.
Cute.
But I remember there were so many times where you like.
I was adamant you couldn't do something and you could.
Yeah, there's so many times.
You incompetent man.
There's even like people that I'll be like, yeah, I'm friends with this person. Like there's a blues artist in town, and you were like convinced that I didn't know this person, and then your sister ended up doing makeup for a local news channel, and then when
Steve Strongman.
Yeah, when he heard my name, he's like, yeah, how is that guy?
Do you know what I think maybe that this stems from is like early on in our relationship, you must have lied to me because ever since then, I just think you're full of shit.
What would I have lied about?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm just saying it is weird though that there's a lot of things that I'm like, you don't know that person. You don't know how to squat. You can't do this. And then you do it. Or you do know them. I'm like, oh.
I think it was because you always wanted to be the coolest person in your friend group.
Oh yeah, you're out cooling me.
Yeah, I think that's what it was early on because it's like it's a defense mechanism, right? If I'm the coolest person in the room, then everyone's my friend.
Possibly be interesting. Maybe that's why.
I still think it bugs you to this day
That you can squat better than I can.
No. That like when we walk into a room where it's mutual friends and like just say that day, because it reverses sometimes. I'm like, oh, I want to be the center of attention and everything's on you, and people are like, oh, fucking Courtney's the best, and I'm like, yeah. She's cool.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, no.
It swaps back and forth.
I would
right?
say tables have turned because, like, definitely early on in our relationship, anywhere that we went, everybody knew you. You were like a Hamilton local. Like, I was always just feeling like I was just Dan's girlfriend. Like, I didn't feel like I had an identity.
I love the fact that you don't feel that way. No.
Yeah, I was just, yeah. And so then now, though, I was going to say, because you do talk me up so much, that there is something so cool about walking into a room, whether it is people that do know me because I have my own identity now, I am my own person, and people know me not through you, or you talk so much about me that little strangers will come up to me and like just tell me so many things that they've heard about me. And that makes me instantly feel cooler than you.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you want to know one of the biggest points that, like, I told everyone at the bar this, and I don't know if I made it back to them, but I'm going to call them out, and I hope we make this one of our reels, and you can leave this whole thing in the reel. Malarkey, who is connected with this bar called Argyle, which is just two wicked locals that you can go have a drink. Everything about these places is amazing. Mm-hmm. And it started off at the Argyle, and Court and I would hang out there, and we heard stories about Malarkey and what it was going to be and how awesome it's going to be. It was just something we kind of were there, kind of like on outsiders watching their journey, really excited about. And then I come home from work one day, and Courtney says, "Did you get something today?" And I said, "No." "Why?" She's like, "Oh, so you didn't, your Instagram? Check your Instagram." And I'm like, "No, why?" And then you showed me your private invite to the invite-only soft opening of Malarkey to bring a friend, and I didn't get one. And I was like, what the fuck? Come on.
Yeah, I thought you did get one.
How come Courtney's cooler than me? That's bullshit. But yeah, you can put
I post more stories tagging their businesses than you do.
I know you do.
Yeah, I am definitely known for that. I love tagging restaurants.
I have heard nothing but amazing things about that place, and I still haven't been because at one point I had COVID when we were supposed to go, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? So we're changing the channel. So here's the thing. So to start off, I just wanted to point out that ever since we started doing this segment of So Here's the Thing, I catch myself all the time not saying So Here's the Thing, and I constantly hear other people say it all the time now.
Really?
Yeah, it's just a weird
you hear
thing.
people say it that are in the room with you a lot?
Yeah, not people that are listening to the podcast, just people like that are just
because you say it a lot in your day-to-day life, though.
Yeah.
So do you think they've picked it up from you in person?
I don't think so. Just random people that, I hear that phrase all the time now. And I'm very self-conscious every time.
We heard it in that one movie or TV show the other day. It was so funny.
Yeah, anyways, so here's the thing.
So here's the thing. I don't know if this is like controversial. I don't know if this is going to piss some people off. I really want to know what your take is on people who casually throw around mental health or diagnoses as like their day-to-day just lingo. For example, people just being like, oh, I'm so dyslexic when they miss up like a bunch of numbers, but maybe they aren't actually.
Right.
Or people are like, oh, that's just my OCD, but maybe they don't actually have OCD. Like what does it really mean when people do that? And all this labels and like, I don't know.
Oh, I actually have a really...
Like, does it bother you when people do that?
No.
Okay.
And here's why. So if people that like do the numbers thing you're saying, they're like, oh, that's my dyslexia, right? I think there's a lot of
But
people.
they don't have dyslexia.
Just let me finish.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people who don't want to get tested for it to have it confirmed because they just don't want to go through the hassle. They're like, oh, I mix up numbers all the time. So what? Like, I believe I'm dyslexic because I read, like, I'll say to people, oh, your bill's $68. And they'll be like, wow, that's really cheap. And I'll be like, I mean, $86. Like, I do it twice a day. Like, I just see it that way.
I think a lot of people do.
So,
Wow, you're dyslexic.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
it's maybe a mild form. I don't know much about the disease. So my point is, when people say that, it's the trait of that. So I think if people are just like, they just assume they have it, and it's almost like a safeguard that they don't want to go prove they have it to themselves. So like, oh yeah, I'm just this, you know, like it's just kind of like a way. It's just a personal defense mechanism. So there's people like that, like, oh, that's my OCD, and people will do it, and it's to the same point where people who will turn on and off a light switch 4 times are like, I don't have OCD. Like, what are you talking about? Like, dumb people have OCD. Like, there's like a stigmatism to it. So I think it's like one way or the other. The people are just like, no. So they kind of joke around about it because they joke around about it, then people can't throw it on me.
Right.
So I think there's that. But then if you go the inevitable route of where you're going is like people like online faking stuff, is that the direction you were going?
Either or, like just labels in general. It could be like, yeah, like the TikTok mental health, people self-diagnosing themselves. Like
we turned mental health into a fad. Do you agree with that? That we just like, it's just a fad, and with fads, people are going to jump on the fad. They're gonna jump on it. I think what sucks about it is because so many people jumped on the wagon with it that now it's hard to find real diagnoses.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I think everything that's
because you're trained what to say.
I definitely agree with like the social aspect of it, but I think just in day to day when there's people who put everything in a certain order on their desk or on their counter or something, and they're just like, yeah, I'm OCD, and I'm like, but that's like one single trait because you like a tidy desk or a tidy counter, to me doesn't define you getting to say that when there's literally nothing else in your day that you do that would be even remotely close to having OCD. Like,
but then that's where the spectrum comes in, where
but
I think
does everything have a spectrum though?
I believe when it comes to mental health, yes, absolutely.
But like, okay,
hear me out.
Being dyslexic is not mental health, though. Like, I'm just saying,
being dyslexic is absolutely something that's in your brain. Like, okay. Mental. Like, so here's it. Fuck me.
See, I knew this was gonna be a good one because we're gonna have differences on this.
So for me, I think with mental illness, you can be like have mild traits of it where you're like, oh, that could be attributed to this because there's something in your brain that we barely understand the brain. Like it's so messed up what the brain can do, right? I think there's traits, so people be like, that's on this trait because there's nothing else that it falls into. There's no other like brain disorder that makes you swap the letters around. Like it's that part of the brain that has a problem with it.
But isn't it very clear to see that's the brain doing that makes you dyslexic?
It's obviously your brain, but people like there's some people who are dyslexic where they can't read, like they can look at a word and they can concentrate on the word and the word still jumbles itself, like no matter what they do. And then you have people that when they glance at a number and read it, their brain just tells them that it was 68 as opposed to 86.
Anything to do with the brain?
No, anything to do with numbers being reversed and not being able to listen to read something straight and have it go out your audible voice or to write it down. That's that part of the brain.
That's what I'm saying. So you think anything to do with the brain is considered, there can be a spectrum of your diagnosis? Or
so your heart cannot pump at the right thing and that can be attributed to something wrong with the brain. Your lungs cannot breathe properly and that's attributed to the brain because your brain controls everything.
Yeah, but your heart's not on a spectrum of like not pumping right. It either pumps right or doesn't pump right. Okay,
your cognitive function then is what I'm talking about. So like there's like, you know how like you see that thing where like different parts of your brain do different things? I'm talking, okay, so we have and there's a friend of ours who had a stroke a bunch of years ago, and he lost the use of being able to speak verbally. And the analogy that I always use is like, our brains are so fucked up where he can't ask you to pass him the ketchup in a way that you understand. But if I grab my guitar and sing a very complex, wordy song, he sings word for word with me.
But at the end of the day, he still had a stroke. He didn't have a spectrum of a stroke.
Sure, but that's your brain doing stuff. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to different disorders, when it comes to mentally, like a stutter, there's some people that have a stutter where, like, I have a slight stutter. You hear me do it all the time. There's other people that can, like, they're constantly stuttering. That's the spectrum of that part of the brain and how much it's affecting the cognitive function.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes, it makes sense. It's making sense. The way that you're looking at this, yeah.
I think it's science.
So because of the way you think, then it doesn't bother you when people say, like, oh, that's just my blank for whatever blank is that they don't have.
No, it doesn't bother me. Why would it bother me? Give me a reason why it should bug me.
I don't know. It bothers me.
I know, but then but this is why we have so many people fighting on Facebook, because there's nothing about them saying that affects you whatsoever. Yet if you're so worked up about it and you're like, it bugs you.
I'm not so worked up about it. I'm just like, it always bothers me.
I'm the one saying it's totally cool, and I've given you many outs where you just could be like, yeah, it doesn't bug me, but you're still like, no, it bugs me. It bugs me. I think what it is because you've always wanted to scream out, hey, I want some help about this mental health problem I'm having, and have always felt ashamed to do it, or whatever reason you had. And then you see these other people who have minor problems screaming that they have bigger problems than they actually do, and there's this weird sense of like, that's not fair, I should have done that. And like, there's a weird kind of like, why can they do it and quasi get the help and I couldn't?
Maybe because I struggled to get the help, so I'm just like resentful. Yeah, maybe a little bit.
And it's almost like,
I don't know. I feel like if every time I was
to get... It's an envy thing in a way.
Right, but I just feel like if every time I was to get angry with you, to be like, oh, that's just my bipolar. But I'm not bipolar. You know I'm not. So, like, how would that not bother you for me to just keep saying and putting a label on something that...
Any mental illness into that sentence when you're using it as an excuse, when I know you inside and out, and I'm going to get mad.
Okay.
Because then it's an excuse.
Okay. So then... But the general public that you do not know, if they say it, it just... You don't care. Because... You're like, they very well could be. Okay,
let me take this one step further. The only time it gets really bothersome to me is when it becomes an excuse as opposed to a reason. Like, there's like a reason to do something like that. Like, oh, this is the reason that I act this way. But then there's just the excuse of like, oh, I just did it because of this. And there's no accountability. Like, you're not even trying. You're just like, oh, I have this, so I'm just going to do this because I'm this way. I know it's wrong, but I'm still choosing to be this way. That's where I have a problem.
Okay.
Like having no accountability to it. Like, 'cause if you know something you're doing isn't right and you're not trying to correct it, you can't use that as your reason. It's now an excuse.
Valid.
It's my opinion anyways.
Okay. Well, very interesting.
Sorry. Did that get deep?
Not too deep.
Okay, cool. Let's change the channel. All right, fellas. So here it goes. I am removing my testicles. I am putting them in Courtney's purse because Courtney is a medicated, headstrong lady of the evening. And she's taking the reins for a little bit here. So let's hand it off to the queen.
Stop it. There's nothing to hand off.
I'm going to put on trumpet sounds there.
No. There's nothing to hand off. It's been crazy because I haven't had a chance to really sit down and like talk to you at all about like my last few therapy sessions and my doctor's appointments and things like that. But like, fuck, you've been there since the beginning. Since last year
Since the beginning of last year.
Since the beginning. No, you've been there since the beginning when we met, when it came to my anxiety and how bad my anxiety would get and my panic attacks and my meltdowns. And you've seen me get ready to go out and then cancel and sit on the couch and cry. You've seen me talk in circles with you because I don't understand something and I get really anxious and I get worked up and I cry and we fight and it takes me a really, really long time to process what it is that you're saying. Just over the last fucking 10, 12, 11, 12 years of dealing with anxiety to find out that it was ADHD all along. Not saying that the anxiety was invalid, because I feel like everything that I felt in myself, anxiety was the symptom and the trigger of it all. Like, you could see it. It's really weird to kind of process now and make things make sense when I'm like, I just felt like I wasn't actually focusing. I wasn't listening, and me not listening to you resulted in the fight in the first place.
Right.
And if I had just focused, and like the amount of focus that I had to give in my everyday life was so exhausting. And it only took, I think, since like 3-4 years ago when I started therapy, which helped with the anxiety,
right,
and trying to wrap my head around it and be like, okay, come to terms with it. It's just something I'm always going to have the rest of my life. I just need to like learn. I'm going to have ups and downs and all of that. And when I got a really good grasp on it, because you like firsthand saw how much improvement therapy made in my life.
Oh, absolutely.
That all of a sudden I was like, okay, I've not fixed or resolved this area of my life, but I've improved it. But why do I still feel this way? And then this still like dooming feeling of like, okay, something's not right. I don't understand. Like, I'm in control of my anxiety now, or I have good days, bad days, whatever. But like, what the fuck? Why do I still feel so burnt out? Why do I feel like I'm spiraling? Why do I feel like nothing's good enough? And then to all of it find out that it was really just like an inattentive focus issue. Then fast forward to like the last year, you watching me fight and jump through hoops to get the medication, because that was a battle in itself, which we can get into. And it's only been 3-4 weeks now of being on the medication, and I've noticed like a lot of just different things going on.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
A lot of different things is a good way to put it.
A lot of different things going on in like good ways and interesting ways.
Well, do you want to like, just for the sake of like chronological order, do you want to kind of get into like just a brief, like, let me just give a synopsis of what's gone on in the last like 7 months. You decided 7 months to probably 2 years ago, in a way, that you wanted to take pills because you believed that ADHD pills could help you out. And so you went through the process, which was very frustrating because of a lot of different conversations and a lot of different like just snags and weird ethical
just the healthcare
snags.
system.
Yeah, just having ethical doctors that don't have the same ethics. And so you finally got the pills, and you were very, we had a lot of conversations about like, this isn't a fix all, this isn't, you know, like, but like, cause I'm up in the air on fucking medication for mental health, but I'm always there to support you. And then you started taking them 3.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I made you promise me at the beginning, she only had the first week was just 1 week worth of pills, that don't try to push through it. Like, oh, this is working. It's going to work if it's not working for you. Mm-hmm. And it just worked very well. You just are one of the lucky ones where like, hey, you hit it right on the head and just, it's working. Mm-hmm. And it's very different. And you're a very different person, but the same at the same time.
Yep, that kind of sums it up.
you're the best Courtney on the best day that I always, like, when I would come home and you have just had a good day, no stress. You're just like the Courtney that I would see. You're just that more often, like the best version of yourself more often, if that makes sense.
Yeah. When I think a lot about the medication, especially when it's like, actually the best way I described it to my therapist was, it's so weird to know when it's worn off, but I don't know when it's kicked in.
Right.
And that's just been a mind fuck in itself, because
but I think I said to you, hey, this is why I think it's happening. It's because there's days where you would have to focus on something and you just are able to focus all day. So it's not a weird thing for your brain to do. But then when you spend the whole day not being distracted, then all of a sudden start getting distracted, you're going to notice you start getting distracted.
Right. And I think it's like little things, like today, for example, actually the last 2 days, I took the medication in the morning, doing something that I normally enjoy, which is art. I've been doing all of these like pumpkin decor and like this big poster thing. And I've noticed that even in something that I enjoy, okay, have no problem focusing on that. But the fact that I was able to do it for like 10 hours yesterday.
Right.
That's where I'm like, the medication aided me huge, because even if something was still slightly interest-based, where I would struggle is like, I'd still get distracted. I would get up to go, wash my paintbrushes or something, let's say, and then, get distracted by something in the kitchen.
Or your phone goes off, you pick it up, and then it's been 2 hours of doom scrolling.
Exactly. And I think the fact that I was able to just like continue through that for like longer periods of time, and that if I did get up to go clean my brushes or get more paint or whatever, I just went back to the task.
Right.
I wasn't like, okay, okay, now where's my brain going to bounce? So that's been a very interesting feeling. But yeah, I've still been trying to figure everything out. I've also... like I told you the other day after I had my therapy session, is we're trying to break up everything that I'm going through into categories. And one of them being the things that I've noticed about letting go of control. I'm working on just going with the flow.
Right.
And just seeing what happens.
Right.
Just being calm. And so far, people, including yourself, I've noticed that this is a more calm version of myself, like, because my brain's not racing. So I'm just trying to enjoy right now, just being calm and just kind of going with the flow and catching myself when I'm getting worked up or I'm trying to over control something out of habit.
So here's my question to you then. So all of the tools now that you have from like with the pills and doing this, where like you're able to implement these tools and like go through with them and actually realize, okay, I'm just going to sit and listen and then just be calm and then just, I know how to say this and I'm going to gently try to say this.
Yeah.
All of those tools that you have, when you look at me, when now you can kind of calmly reflect on how I've been towards you. Like I definitely have ADHD. I'm 100% starting to realize this from even you listening to me now and realizing how different, you're seeing me. All of these tools that you're like easing into doing it, like these are so easy now. I'm like, I've spent 40 fucking years making myself do these things without fucking medication, and it's exhausting. So I think the one thing that I'm envious of is like I'm looking at you and I'm like doing like a mental marathon every day and have been for years to just keep myself in check.
And as you get older, like, it gets harder because, like, and that's the part that's so crazy is when I think about those tools. Okay, 3-4 years ago when I first started therapy, those tools were working. Then all of a sudden, why did it stop? It was like, because applying those fucking tools, like, took work. It took effort. It was still exhausting. I still felt like I was, like, riding a bike uphill. Like, it was like, okay. And then I finally hit that point where all my tools are right there. I just fucking can't reach them. Like, that was it for me. Where I was like, why? And then now the medication, those tools have just naturally come back to me because, yes, I practice them, but I don't think I practiced them enough that they became a full habit. Because I personally just don't think that if you go to therapy and you're told some technique or something that you have to do, I don't think just doing it for a couple of years suddenly just makes it a part of your life. Like, I think it's something that isn't natural and something you constantly have to work at. I think it's something
like where it's
you're rewiring your brain.
You have to do it to survive. Like you, like my whole backstory. Like it's something I had to do to survive. And like looking at you and the ease of like almost becoming like what would I have been if I had what you have right now early on in my life? Like, that's my envious thought looking at it. And I think two things. I think one, I'm super envious and I'm like angry, like just there's like an anger in my past of like, why didn't someone fucking try and just fucking hear me out right at one point? And it makes me angry. The solace that I take that takes away that anger completely is I always to you wanted to be, because I've always seen something great in you. Like, there's tons of fucking trash and craziness all around you, right? But I always saw the you that you are. And I wanted to do everything for you that I wish someone did for me when it came to like, don't let, like your mental health is your mental health. I get it. In the real world, it's fucking hard. The one place I never wanted it for you to be self-conscious about it and be able to deal with it in the way that I know you needed to, whether it was unorthodox or whatever. I always wanted to say to you what I wish someone was doing to me.
That just hit a nerve.
It makes sense though, right?
Yeah. Wow. You know what? You just saying that, because you've been like my biggest cheerleader through all of this. What you just said brought up a memory, but you just saying that like you just let me work through what I had to work through is every time we got in a fight that was so intense, where you would usually be sitting on the couch, I would be standing because I was in the midst of walking away. Yeah. Now that I've like been on this medication, all I think about is the fact that like I never heard you.
Right.
Like, I never...
Oh, I know you didn't.
It's so frustrating that I had to get to that point where I'm like, I never heard you. I never understood what it was that you were trying to say, and I was never able to talk to you.
Going back to playing games, do you want to know the passcode that I used when you weren't hearing me? I go, hey, same team.
No, I know.
Same team.
Yeah. I know. You would always remind me of that. But I'm just even thinking when we were arguing where I maybe was actually genuinely in the wrong. Like, I had fucked up. I didn't want to own it, whatever. And all you were doing was just trying to express how you felt.
Right.
Because you would always talk to me like that. Like, I'm just trying to express how I'm feeling right now. I'm not saying you've done anything wrong, or even if I did, you still would say that.
That was a huge expression that I used to use all the time.
Yeah, even if I did something wrong, you still would be like, I'm just trying to express to you. Like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just wanted to say this. And even with you expressing how you felt, I was defensive in that.
Right.
And it was just fucked up because, again, my brain's bouncing all over the place. My triggers are being set off. I'm feeling like I have to defend myself because, like, I did do something wrong, whether you were mad at me about it or not. And then just not listening to your feelings and trying to come to... And you weren't even looking at me to fix anything. You were just looking at me to, like, be like, okay, I see where you're coming from and this is how I would have done it differently. All that kind of stuff. Like, anyways.
Well, I think 90% of our big fights would turn into me being like, why are you mad right now?
I couldn't even express it sometimes.
And you would take 2 words out of the previous sentence that I said and said, you said, fuck you. No, I didn't. Like, and that's
I would
why,
only hear part of what you said.
And that's one of the things that I would play games in. Like, I would say what I knew you were going to use later in the fight against you, being like, hey, don't parrot this and say this is the only thing I'm saying. I'm using this as an example. And then I would say it. So you can't be like, you said it, this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I just said to you, like, you can't. This isn't what I'm saying. Like, you can't just grasp onto that.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really weird to just think about so many times where it was just like, I couldn't focus on you and I couldn't listen to you. And funny, back to just what we were earlier talking about, one of the things being on the medication is I've realized how much you need it. Right? Yeah. We talked about how much ADHD you probably have. And now it makes sense why. I think, honestly, 2 people that have ADHD, even though you went 40 years trying and coping and putting all of the skills in place all by yourself, which I commend. And I also think it's totally possible for anybody out there. Like, because, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I've seen you do it. I'm not saying you don't struggle, but... You've put in the effort to apply all of those tools yourself. But like you said, it's like you're running a marathon. And it's so fucking exhausting.
I think the trick to how I've dealt with it, like, is I know that there's a chunk of the world, like 60%, that I just don't want to be involved in because my anxiety, my ADHD, everything. Like, it just eats away at me, and who knows what it actually is, right? I know that I have to do it. And the way that I know that I can get away with that is there's a lot of stuff where I'm just like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not even going to try, because if I do try and fail, I'm just going to want to do less of the stuff I've already promised myself I'm going to do. So there's like times where you'll be like, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, nope. And I'm not budging on it.
You have
no
nope. Energy, nothing to give for that. Like, and I get it.
Yep. And I have no guilt about it. Like, I know that I give as much as I can.
Yeah.
I'd love to give more.
Yeah.
But I think the way I've gotten through it in life without medication is knowing how much I can give. Like, it's like your spoon theory that you love, right?
Yeah, you've really, like, I think over the years, being able to just figure yourself out, what works for you, what you're able to tolerate, what you're able to push through. Like, it's gotten you this far. Like, you've survived and you've thrived. Like, you've done a lot in your life, which is great. I just think...
I'm a guy that hates crowds in big rooms full of drunk people, and I bartend.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you
and
definitely
played music in front of those people.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny, like, the way that I deal with it is, if everybody in the room is my friend, I don't need to worry about the room. So if I'm on stage, I can be a friend to everybody in the room. If I'm a bartender, I'm everybody's friend in the room. And that's just how I deal with it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think... Even though you've done a lot of the coping yourself, let's say you hadn't, I mean, we wouldn't have worked, because I think now, looking back, 2 people with ADHD would be 2 people not listening to each other.
Yep.
I think because you put in so much effort and care to make sure, even if you're exhausted, that you're really trying to listen to what the person's saying, and you give it your all. That's why you've put up with me, and that's why we've worked, and that's why we're still here. But now that I've been on medication, it sounds so crazy, because I think it's just something that I needed. And
what's funny about it is, like, I know exactly, in you saying what you're saying, how I know that my parents, I know I tired the fuck out of them because I just blabber. So what I saw in you is because you're such a fucking blabbermouth. I realized if I shut up, because I was working on myself when I met you, and to like listen to people, like listen. I think it's the most healthy thing you can do, because I've always wanted to be the leader, and I never really learned how to be a proper follower. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to focus on listening. So when I met you, I was focusing on listening and like genuinely caring for somebody. Mm-hmm. So I realized that once I got past all the crazy fucking insanity of you, who you were was fucking amazing. There's so many fucking great ideas. There's so much humor. There's so much greatness. But you just need to let you blabber and get through all of the shit first before you get to it. Because you have all these walls that you built up coping. So it's one of those things where, like, you know, a lot of people that meet me, they think I'm really dumb. And then they talk to me for a long time, and then they're like, oh, wait, there's some wisdom and some knowledge in there. Mm-hmm. And because I listened to you, because that's what I was focusing on myself, that's what I saw. And so that's why, like, even with me wanting to give you what no one had given me, it just turned out to be listening. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
And I ultimately think that's what I needed. Like, I look back and it was like, I was always told to slow down. Like, I talk way too fast. I still can and do, but I'm very mindful of. That's one thing I've always worked on, because I was always told.
Everywhere else, but in this department.
Because I'm up against somebody who talks just as much. So I feel like I got to get every word in really quick. Okay, hurry, listen to me.
What the fuck are you getting at? Do you fuck chickens?
What the fuck? But no, like, when I'm in the outside world, I'm always aware of, like, okay, slow down, talk normal, like, and so now that I've been medicated for about a month and still continuing therapy, and I look back on the therapy and the tools that I had, yes, it makes those tools easier to use.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just there. And the biggest one that just is standing forward a lot is acceptance. And that's one where we would kind of, like, my therapist and I would go through, like, all of the possible, like, outcomes of, like, okay, what could happen? What would they say? Worst case scenario, blah, blah, blah. What's best case scenario? And then there's just, like, that thought of just, like, what can you accept? Right? And that's one now with the medication I think stands forward the most, because it's a lot of just, like, I'll just accept it when it happens. Like, I'll just show up to that meeting prepared or unprepared. Like, I did my best. Or I still get anxious about, like, the art that I'm doing right now. And I'm like, are they even going to like it?
Right.
But then I do still talk to myself of, like, accepting it's the best that I did. It's what they're going to get. And, like, just there's stuff like that I have to kind of talk myself through.
Like, what do I need to do? Like, there's...
Yeah, like, I have steps in my head, what I need to do to, like, get myself through it. And one of the interesting things that I said to my therapist was, so after the first 7 days, the doctor gave me, like, just a trial of, like, okay, a certain dosage, let me know how it is. So then after 7 days, when she followed up with me and she's like, how are things going? The first thing I said to her was that I feel like my anxiety has decreased significantly. And it's so funny because not only the doctor, but the pharmacist, when they were going through symptoms, said that one of the side effects of this medication is increased anxiety.
Oh, wow.
So it's really fucking weird that it's working so well that I was able to say it's actually decreased it. And the doctor was like, okay, like, how? And I'm like,
it's definitely decreased.
Yeah. And I think it's because instead of thinking of, like, 15 million things all at the same time and worrying about when it's going to happen and this and that and whatever, I'm just focused on the task at hand, and it's slowed how many thoughts come through that I don't have a chance to be anxious. But then when I told my therapist, is that anxiety now has come up in a way that it hasn't before, but I'm very aware of what it is and why it's there. And so she was really intrigued. She's like, okay, like, what? And I said, I used to just be anxious about everything. That was my identity. It was my life. That's the thing I'm trying to unlearn now, is that, like, I'm not a ball of anxiety. I am a creative, happy person. And I like, you know, I love waking up in the morning. I love doing what I'm doing. And now that I'm focused, the anxiety that's been creeping up is because what's happening is as my brain is doing something it's not used to, like, it's focusing on something, which is allowing me just to take action without all of the like pre-thoughts of it. Like, when I just went for a walk that one day, I, like, threw in laundry, got up, and I just went for a walk, and there really wasn't a lot of, like, thinking about the task and the procrastination. It was just like, thought, do.
Right.
But what happened is like, when I was going for a walk, I actually started to feel really anxious because it was something that I'm not used to. So anxiety is actually showing up in a normal, healthy way that your body would respond to something that's unknown.
Right.
but I'm aware of it, that I'm like, oh, this is like the normal amount of anxiety that a person should receive. That's like...
And then it also stops when it should stop and
then
doesn't
it did.
linger on.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because in the second I told myself, like, oh, the anxiety is here because my brain and body is like, you're walking in a neighborhood that you've never walked in. Like, you don't do this normally. So your immediate response is like, danger. And then I was like, nothing's dangerous around me. I'm just going for a walk. I was like, just because I wanted to. Right. And then the second I like told myself that, again, that radical acceptance, like, this is just what I'm doing, anxiety immediately went away. Yep. So it's been interesting to kind of like see how my feelings and things like that have changed. But then when I don't take the medication, all the things that have been there my whole life feel a little bit stronger.
Okay, that's a great thing I want to ask. So when you don't take the medication, if we get into like kind of discussion, right, and the things that like frustrate you or whatever, before you got your medication, you know how you'd react and blah, blah, blah. Do you almost catch yourself now being like, you've connected the like mental thought now where you've like, because of medication, you realize, oh, if I just do this, this actually works. It's not a possible thing. It's now become facts. So now when you're when you're not medicated, your brain now knows, oh, if I just act this way, I get a better response because you've learned it now.
Yes. Like, if anything, it makes me more aware of, like, I need to put more checkpoints in place. Because I think when the medication is in my system and we're having a discussion and I want to interrupt, or I end up finding myself listening more, asking questions, and trying to piece together what it is you're actually saying, what happens in my body and my brain is just like checkpoints. Like, it's just like I have more filters. Like, I have more like, wait, just stop. He's talking, like, think about this. And it's a different flow. Right. So then when I'm not taking the medication and my brain's kind of going all crazy, I know because of what it does when it's medicated. I have to be like, whoa, wait, stop. Nope.
Right.
Remember, like, the thing that like feels good naturally. Okay, you gotta just check in. Like,
right.
So I do have to check in with myself a little bit more when I'm not medicated. The other thing that's really weird that I feel like in an experimental stage that I'm trying to figure out at work, Thursday, Friday this week, I took my Thursday I forgot. Sorry. So Friday I took the medication, went into the office, and I felt off. I felt like I was going a fucking mile a minute. And it was weird because I was like, I took my medication. Why am I feeling more intense? So I started thinking about, okay, what did I do? Like, did I eat breakfast? Right. And then I was like, ooh, I had a really, really big, strong coffee, though. Yeah. And so I think I'm starting to realize on the days I take medication and have coffee, no bueno.
Is that a good combo?
No. It's a stimulant on top of a stimulant, which is fucking weird.
Doesn't it?
What? I'm a little upset. Upsetty spaghetti.
I was a little upsetty spaghetti. But I think that's what it is I'm really starting to realize is like, yeah, the coffee on top of the medication makes me a fucking Energizer bunny, and it almost makes me
not
feel
in
like,
a good way.
I'm like, why? I'm not even this, how I was on Friday at work, I'm not even this bad when I don't take the medication. I've never been that bad.
Right.
And so I've started to realize, I'm like, I really think caffeine I have to watch out for. I know I have to eat on it. Like, I'm just trying to figure it out because, like I said, I know when it wears off. I don't know when it's kicked in. Clearly, when I take it, I've yet to have 2 days identical. I've also had days where I sit there and I go, is it even fucking working? Is it doing anything right now?
So I have. So here's. I'm gonna leave you with a closing thought that we probably will get into next week. Mm-hmm. But here's my thought. Do you think? Okay, going back to like you starting therapy. When you started therapy worked so well right off the hop for you. Like even like your first like 3 like meetings, you were like, oh holy shit. I think. Not to toot my own horn, but I think a lot of the time I would tell you something, you'd be like, yeah. And then a week later, someone else would tell you something and you'd be like, did you know this? Mm-hmm. And you'd be like all excited, but you never would believe me on the first go around. Mm-hmm. That you almost had a study buddy for therapy while talking to me and kind of listening to me, because you even said you wouldn't really listen to me, but you had a study buddy on how to go to therapy, and then someone else who's nice and talks to you as a therapist that's way more educated than I am. But a lot of the same vibes I had were like, yo, you're great. Why are you doing this? You know, like you almost had a lot of therapy before you went to therapy. And now you've done so much work in therapy for when you now have the medication, you already know what to do with that and you have the tools in that. So I gave you the tools to go to therapy. Therapy gave you the tools for the medication, and now you're just building and growing.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think, which we'll get into in other episodes, you gave me a very interesting perspective on therapy and medication and all of that, because...
Well, that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah. Like, you kind of gave me like a... What's it called? Like, yeah, an introduction. You gave me the introductory
crash course.
Yeah, you gave me a crash course in what to expect in therapy and what therapy is. And
what therapy possibly could be, because they never said it's this way. I just said, hey, this is my experience.
Yeah, you're like, this is what it could be for you. And I remember having sessions too where you were quite shocked with like what my therapist said to me or what I took out of it. Like, I was happy to know that you saw it working.
Just as a precursor, it's not like I listened in on your therapy sessions. It is, I don't ever bring up when you come out of therapy, how did therapy go? Could you please just do that? Because you're like, because you know in my therapy classes, like my therapy... Well,
because I talk very open. I tell you all the time.
Sure, but I'm just saying, I just want to clarify. I very much, her therapy is her personal thing.
Yes. No, to clarify is that I would come out of my therapy session very...
Her therapist is my mom.
No. But I would come out very excited to talk to you about what I had thought about, what we talked about,
what you learned.
Or what I learned, like how things in my childhood and my life make sense, right? Which now is just a whole fuckaroo, because it's like I'm actually doing therapy for the last 3 years all over again with the mindset of ADHD and not anxiety, which is so fucked up. Which is why one of the categories we're also working on is inner child work, because everything about my life and the way that I got worked up and the things that I did and how I felt, like, oh, fuck, this is the stuff I'm unpacking. It makes so much more sense now that it was just like being inattentive and just not being able to focus. Like, my mom would say to me, like, hey, I want to teach you how to like double dutch. Let's go out front. She'd say like, oh, let's go shoot some hoops. Or she'd say like something new, right? Let's do some skipping. And I'd be like, why do I want to do that? Like, there was also weird things about what I'm still trying to figure out about ADHD, where it's like, yeah, it's the inattentiveness, but it's also like when something isn't interest-based, there's fucking nothing you could have done to get me to want to do it.
Right.
And like, that's the part about it that's like, I'm still trying to unpack and learn, where I'm like, that I wasn't anxiety filled. I wasn't anxious about fucking skipping. Like, now that I think about it, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I didn't want to skip because I had no fucking interest in skipping. And then trying to express that. I also have a mother who I think has ADHD. So she's like, it was just like this constant battle. And there's just little stories and memories and things that kind of pop into my head where I'm like, it would have made so much more sense if I maybe had that diagnosis as a child. Or
unbelievably. You know what I do love right now? In closing, dialogue over drama. Please like and subscribe. Do your best. Mrs. I'm medicated now. I was trying to close like 10 minutes ago, and we have gone through 4 different podcast topics in the last like 3 minutes. You are so excited to talk, and I am so excited to listen to you. Like, you are so pumped and you are so focused. It is scary. You're reminding me of me right now when it comes to like when I get jazzed about like wanting to talk. Yeah. So I'm gonna fucking pump the brakes on you right now.
All right. And we got more episodes coming for
really?
Sure.
We're gonna probably struggle for next week now because I know I could probably convince you into recording next episode right now.
I want some pizza.
I know you want some pizza, but I guarantee you, like, maybe we can record one more. Let's just keep going. Which I absolutely love.
I know.
I love you. I'm excited for the new kind of refocus of dialogue over drama. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to really get in depth and be really honest about our relationship, as well as I'm still going to do dirty games and still be Dan.
Don't change who you are.
I never will. Okay, love you. Bye. Dialogue Over Drama is recorded in Stony Creek, Ontario. Original music provided by Allegories and Jesse James and the Medicine Show. This has been a Dialogue Over Drama production.